What's going on, riders and new riders? We're here at Independence Harley-Davidson, and today we're going to be talking about the Lowrider S for new and existing riders.
I won't deny you, I'm a straight rider. 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 I'm a straight rider. I won't deny you, I'm a straight rider. I'm a straight rider. I won't deny you, I'm a straight rider. I'm a straight rider. I won't deny you, I'm a straight rider. I'm a straight rider.
Let's take one more look at this beauty before we go do this ride. That's a beautiful bike right there. Gotta put my gloves on. All right, gloves on. I got my helmet on. You see me? All right, let's hear that initial startup. Yeah, sounds good. All right, so we're leaving Independence Harley-Davidson, and today we're going to be talking about the Harley-Davidson Lowrider S for new riders, and these videos, as I always say, is for existing riders as well. So let's talk a little bit about the specs of the bike real quick. This is going to come with your Milwaukee 8 114 motor, putting out 119 foot-pounds of torque. It has a seat height of about 26.5 inches, and it is a beautiful machine. So the Lowrider S, one of my favorites from Harley-Davidson, is going to be a very stylish Harley-Davidson. To me, it kind of looks like a bigger Sportster with a little bit more style to it. It's going to come with an upright seating position with mid controls, and the seat kind of lets you sit into the bike instead of on top of the bike. The stock seat does come with a little bit of lower lumbar support, not too much though. It feels like I still possibly could slide out of this seat if you lay on the throttle enough. But when it comes to this unit, I'm going to strongly suggest putting a Saddleman step-up seat on it the day you get it, because that completely changes the look and makes it for an amazing looking bike, and it's going to give you that 2-up riding option once you do that. So right now we're on some of the mini twisties, and the bike handles the road amazing. The Lowrider S is going to be one of those bikes that is going to be perfect for a new rider who kind of was thinking of more of a performance machine, like a sport bike or something. Because as I stated, I do not suggest sport bikes for newer riders in any way, shape, or form, because you just should not start out on a sport bike. I've said it in previous videos. I plan on doing a full video on why the sport bike is not a great beginner or new rider motorcycle, or for someone getting into motorcycling. The Lowrider S is sitting on the soft tail frame now. The previous generation was a Dyna, but this is now a soft tail frame. And this bike is going to come with the inverted front forks. Whenever you see inverted forks on the front, you know that that bike is built for performance. It does come with the mono shock in the rear, and the ride feels extremely comfortable, but you're still getting that tactile response from the road. As you can see, my arms are fairly extended in the seating position, and I am 6 feet tall and about 220 to 230 pounds, and I fit on this bike perfectly comfortable. It does have a slightly raised handlebar position. Now, as you can see here, Zach is 5'10" in height, and he sits perfectly comfortable on the bike as well. And the Lowrider is just, in general, an extremely fun bike to own. So I'm gonna go over a little bit of the controls here with you real quick while we're riding, before we get to my favorite part of the ride. You're gonna have everything you possibly need on these tacks right here. Let me get up here so I can stop and show you real quick before the light changes. So you get an analog speedo, you get an analog tack, you got a cycle button right here where you can cycle through your miles, trip A, trip B, remaining miles to this tank of gas, a clock, and then back to miles, because you got your RPM gauge and everything there. The bike has all your standard controls, such as your hazard lights, kill switch, your right and left blinkers positioned on the hand to the way you're turning. That's one thing I love about Harley-Davidsons. The left blinkers on this side, the right blinkers on this side, and they are automatic canceling, so they cancel on their own. Sometimes when I get on my other bikes, I actually forget to turn off my turn signal because I'm so used to Harley and the fact that the turn signals cancel on their own. Now this bike is going to be one of those extremely stylish bikes because the Dyno was one of Harley's most popular bikes. Everyone was so disappointed when that went away. So Harley brought back out the Lowrider S on the Softail frame, and I feel like they did a great job with the design, the way it looks. It looks extremely stylish. As far as the LED front light and the LED tail light, let's see how it handles this this roundabout here. And the bike will lean over extremely easy. Yeah, I got it leaned over quite a bit, so you got a pretty good lean angle on this thing. I feel like this is a much better option for a newer rider thinking about getting something like an R6 or a Gixxer 600 or CBR 600, one of the 600 or 1000 class motorcycles, because it's still going to give you performance, but when you're in that upright seating position, it kind of helps you learn, manage, and have more control over your throttle position, which is going to increase your throttle control. So until you've mastered that throttle, I say it in every video, you have no business on a sport bike. Now, this bike does have 119 foot-pounds of torque. It has the same motor that the Road Glide, the Street Glides, and the Limiteds are going to come with, but it's on a much smaller platform because this bike is a lot smaller than those. So it's going to give you performance, but it's not so aggressive that it's going to scare the crap out of someone who's just learning to ride, but it is going to be enough power for you to have fun with and grow with the bike. And once you become comfortable, you can just let it out and it will unleash a ton of torque. Harley-Davidsons have a lot of low-end torque, but it's all about how the throttle is set up, on how, in my opinion, it's all about how the throttle set up, on how that power is pushed out of the bike. Now, on this one, it is a very responsive throttle. On some of my earlier reviews on some of the previous motorcycles, you could turn the throttle about a good quarter of a turn, and you'd be in that safe zone before all that power kicks in. On this one, you got about I'd say you got about 1/8 of a turn before the power kicks in. So long as you're not getting ridiculous with the motorcycle and doing the rum 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 thing, you'll be perfectly fine because you're in that upright seating position, and since your wrist is going to be facing completely flat, it's going to allow you to just make minute adjustments to your throttle. As you can see here, I'm barely turning. Just look at my hand. You barely turn it and you get the power out of it. But then when you actually want the power, you just give it a little bit more of a turn. So we're on a little bit of a windy road here, not too twisty. So I'm going to hang back a little bit so we can take that curve at speed, so that way you can see how she handles, because this bike really does make you feel confident on it, and it feels good going into a corner as well as going straight. I think the inverted forks and the soft tail frame gives this bike some of the best handling you'll get out of a cruiser probably. So let's open it up and take the corner, and you'll see she'll lean over with no problems, and it doesn't feel intimidating at all. It just feels nice and smooth and natural going around the corners. And the bike is extremely well balanced. It's extremely well balanced. You can just tell, because when you want it to be straight up, it's gonna stay straight up. And it's a windy day. I don't know if y'all can hear that wind whipping through the mic right now, but it's definitely windy out here. And the bike's not moving. That's another good thing about a cruiser, is the wind's not really gonna push you around, because these do have a little bit more weight on them. It helps a little bit with the wind not pushing you from the side, like boom, and making you blow all over the place. So I'm gonna come up to the light here and we'll test out the braking to see how she brakes. Let me get up to speed a little bit so I can test out the braking performance. There we go. All right. Yeah, this bike will stop on a dime. The brakes don't feel squishy at all. They feel really good. It's a nice firm squeeze that you give, and you'll get your braking action out of it, out of your front brake as well as your rear brake. Yeah, this bike feels really good. So this is a bike, if you're a newer rider, that you can get and you can completely customize and make it as stylish as you want. One thing I suggest on these bikes is changing up your handlebar configuration, making it more comfortable for you and more stylish. Putting an exhaust pipe on here. I'm a big fan of Vance and Hines, but there's a lot of different other types of pipe. You got Bassani, you got all different types of exhaust options for this bike. That's another good thing about Harley-Davidsons. The aftermarket community is just endless. There's like so many different things you can get to it to make it your own. Some people actually flip these mirrors upside down to give it a little bit more stylish look. I mean, again, that's your personal preference. There's just so many customization options for this bike to make it your own, and that's a big thing I believe in. When you get your motorcycle, you want to customize these things and make it yours, you know, make it your style, not the style that came from the dealership. You know, change some things up, put your own little touch on it to make it unique. I like to see more unique bikes on the road than a ton of stock bikes, you know. Customize it. So if you do decide you want to customize your Harley-Davidson, you know, you can swing by Independence, go see the parts guys, but definitely don't leave your bike stock. I don't want to see stock Harley-Davidsons out here. You know, customize those things, make them your own. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna pull over up here so that way I can be at a dead stop or close to stop, so I can do a quick performance test and let you see the performance that comes out of here. Now again, the performance test is not going to be necessarily for a newer rider, because I don't feel like you should be riding this way when you're just learning to ride or you're just developing your skills, but it's to show you what this bike can do once you actually have developed your skills. So now I'm going to show you what the bike can do once you've developed your skills and you want a little performance out of it, because a lot of people are thinking, oh, I need a sport bike. That's not necessarily true. So let's roll on. Oh yeah, baby. And I didn't even give it probably not even half a turn of throttle, and the performance just was unleashed out of this thing. And you can do real simple things to this bike to make it even more torquey if you want to, such as a stage one, which is basically an air filter, and you put on a full exhaust system or some slip-ons, and you're going to get a little bit more power out of here. But this is an extremely fun bike to ride. It's definitely comfortable. It's one of those bikes you can take up to the mountains or to the twisties and have a little bit of fun on, and you can take this for an extended ride. I feel really comfortable in the saddle, and I feel like I could ride this bike for hours on hours, because number one, I'd have fun on it, and I love the way this bike looks. Look at this, how it's taking that corner, baby. And number two is because I just love this bike in general, you know. So this is a bike that's going to allow you to grow with it, and that's what I believe in. When you get your first bike, I did not even show him any love. I feel like an idiot. That was just so rude of me. There's the love, baby. There's the love. I'm giving it to you, but you're not there anymore, but I still gave it to you. I feel like when you're getting your first motorcycle, you want to get something that you're going to like, and that you can have fun on, and that you're going to enjoy, and that you're going to want to take out and ride. Because if you don't, you're not going to take it out and ride it. If you don't like your motorcycle, you're not going to ride it. If you don't ride your motorcycle, you're not going to develop your skills. And if you don't develop your skills, you're going to be back in a car. And I don't want that. I want you out on a motorcycle. So definitely pick up a bike that you like and enjoy. Sometimes it takes the fact of having to get out and test ride a few bikes until you find out what your style is going to be, or what you really like, or which ones you like the feel of. And that's another good thing about Harley-Davidson, is you can step into a dealership, and as long as you got your endorsement, they'll be able to take you out on some test rides on some different bikes, so that way you can find out what works for you and what doesn't. So if you're in the Charlotte area, swing by Independence Harley-Davidson. We'll get you out on a couple bikes, so that way you can see what they feel like. Especially if you're a newer rider, grab your endorsement and test ride some bikes, so that way you know what you want and you get something that you're going to love. I know a lot of people just jump on Craigslist and go buy the first little beginner bike they can. That's not the right thing to do. You want to get a bike that you actually like. But if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that bell notification so you'll be notified when I upload new videos, and check out the playlist over to the left. It's going to be the playlist for Harley-Davidson for new riders. But it's your boy Infinit Ryda signing out. I hope you stay safe, be blessed, and get out there on two wheels, people. Love y'all. Deuces. Did I give you the deuces? Deuces. There you go. Oh, right now. Oh, that's so great. I'm so excited about that.